All right, welcome back to Two Fat Nerds. We are here on episode 2. I am Bob at the soundboard once again, accompanied by Tiny
Yo.
and the infantile Pillock Dubs.
Shut up.
No, I don't think I will.
Unfucking-believable.
Well, that's your opinion. Anyway, today's topic, we are going to be ranking the Marvel Cinematic Universe films into tiers. As you know, there are tier graphs out there that people have been making. The tiers are S, A, B, C, D, and F. We're going to be doing that, but with the Marvel Cinematic Universe films.
And I will just to be, we are ending at Avengers Endgame. Just FYI.
And as far as the order we are going to be going in, I believe we're doing this in order of production, not chronologically.
Yeah, really, we're going by U.S. release date, not actual like the story chronological order. So,
All right, fair enough. Well, Tiny has the list, so I'll let him kind of guide that.
all right. So, as we all know, Iron Man, first movie,
At least an A.
A, 100% A.
Yeah.
I have no problem with that one.
Yeah, as the inaugural movie, the one that really kicked it off, they knocked it out of the park.
100%. I won't even disagree with that one. I had a couple problems with the movie back in the day. I think it was the pacing got a little weird. Like that part he's in the cave just seems.
That was actually one of my favorite.
I mean, it's fine, but it feels like it just slows. It sets this weird pace for the movie, and then the rest of the movie's just flying by everything.
So what my issue with it is exactly opposite. I feel like the pacing kind of slows to a crawl as it's trying to establish Obadiah as the villain in time to make him Ironmonger at the end.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, it kind of like you definitely get the sense that he's up to no good, but it's not so full blown throughout the entire movie, and then he just kind of wham, now he's Ironmonger.
Right.
yeah.
And the movie kind of struggles to establish that, and the rest of the plot kind of comes to a stop while it tries to establish him as the actual villain.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, I think we unanimous A, and I think we're all okay with that. No ifs, ands, or buts. So, moving on to number 2, The Incredible Hulk. This movie is really kind of forgettable for me, to be completely honest.
Yeah, there's nothing.
Oh,
That final boss fight, I've seen the final boss fight. I haven't seen the movie in its entirety, but I have seen the final boss fight with Abomination. And, I mean, that wasn't too bad.
it was honestly like what I really enjoyed. I mean, Edward Norton gives a perfectly serviceable performance as the Hulk, but honestly, the real gem for me in this film is watching Tim Roth be Abomination.
Yeah, I'd give you that one.
You have an actual madman playing an actual madman. It's just endlessly entertaining. I mean, part of it is like I am a hardcore Tarantino fan, so
Right.
between that and and a handful of other movies, I've seen probably the best work out of Tim Roth, and also some of the worst because I've seen his collaborations with Tim Burton.
Not wrong there.
But Tim Roth is great at playing characters that are absolutely out of their minds.
But this is my problem why it's such a forgettable movie. In the original releases of all the first phase of Marvel movies, it's the one on my lowest want to rewatch.
Oh, agreed.
No, yeah, no question about that.
it's-
and that's why it's so forgettable for me.
Well, it's just dull because, unfortunately, there's very little Hulk in the Hulk movie.
Right? Like the fuck?
Like you get 3 big scenes with him.
Pretty much.
'Cause
Yeah.
it's his inaugural fight in the factory. Then it's him versus Tim Roth version 2. And then him versus Abomination.
Yeah.
And
pretty
none
much.
of these sequences are very long.
No, not particularly.
No. Not at all.
And for a Hulk fight, they're even rather small.
yeah, I'd agree.
Because the first fight takes place entirely in that factory.
Yep.
The The second fights take place on a campus green.
Yeah.
And the third fight, they barely fuck up a single city block.
Yeah, 100%.
And this is a fight between Abomination and Hulk.
Right.
Like, it's even funny, but it's kind of funny because in later films, Ruffalo Clancy is like, last time I was here, I kind of wrecked Harlem. But did you though? Like, if you zoom back out, they really didn't damage all that much for a Hulk fight.
Right.
Yeah, by Hulk fight standards, it really wasn't all that much.
So I guess the question is,
where do we place it?
I mean, basically, for me, and this is very much on the back of Tim Roth's performance and Tim Blake Nelson's performance, because his character honestly was one of the most interesting ones. I'd give it a B.
I think B's a little too generous in my opinion.
I'd probably go with C personally.
I'm
Maybe
pretty,
a very high C, but still a C.
Yeah, I'm kind of
C's
floating
fair.
in
I'm not
C.
willing to die on that hill.
All right, so
I just
C it
write
is
Hulk,
for
if anything.
Hulk.
Yeah, C is for
Hulk is a different movie, and we're not talking about that.
I thought that was just Hulk, not the Incredible Hulk.
Well, I said he could just write Hulk on the sheet,
I'm not writing Hulk.
but he refuses to acknowledge, which, as he should, the movie Hulk.
Okay, all right, fair, whatever. That's the hill he's gonna die on, though.
I'm on that hill with him though, so it's okay.
Well,
He's
whatever.
not alone. Yeah, we know you're a bitch. Okay, Iron Man 2.
Solid B.
Yeah, I'm really okay.
No, actually, now that I think about it,
I don't know.
maybe.
I'd
be willing to put that to B. It was a solid sequel, but it was a sequel.
I can't remember the guy's name, but like the Justin Hammer character was absolutely awesome. Like,
Yeah,
even
I mean,
just
he
him
was
serving as a
nice
whipping
little-
boy for
yeah.
Stark was some of the
Also-
most fun I've had in like any of the Marvel movies. Period.
Also, Mickey Rourke.
Did a good job.
When they announced he's going to be
Mickey
in
Rourke
Marvel,
playing Whiplash,
and
like,
Mickey Rourke was basically playing a hybrid Whiplash, I was like, can he though?
and he did a good job.
Yeah. Right off the heels of The Wrestler at that too, because I think The Wrestler came out like the year before, and then he filmed the Marvel movie. I'm like, golf clap for that.
I don't know. Like one line alone helps me put it into the B category, and that it would just be when he says that he privatized world peace, like that right there during that Senate hearing or that congressional hearing, right there. That put. Well, no, did I say B? I meant to say like maybe even a low A.
I think we can easily
Because I
put him
thought
into
it
an
was-
A.
Yeah, I'd feel because I don't have. I mean, to be fair, like I don't think it was as good as Iron Man.
No,
No,
it
it
wasn't.
wasn't. It was not.
But to me, it's not that anything in it was necessarily bad. It's just Iron Man 1 was fucking magic. And Iron Man 2 didn't quite recapture that magic.
No, not
But
quite.
I think the biggest reason why is because Iron Man 2, they started building the world.
Mm-hmm.
So it's no longer free reign to do what they want, but they're starting to build their world now, because now they're like, okay, this is viable. What can we do and how much can we add?
I think honestly, the part of it is like the more I'm looking back and thinking about it, the pacing was different. It wasn't as steady and gradual as it was in Iron Man, because it was just Stark, because he started dealing with his own demons. Then it was just him growing in the suit, understanding the suit, and then understanding in where he wanted to be in the world. But now he's fighting a new villain, dealing with his relationships, dealing with himself. Then he's dying on top of it.
Yeah.
It was just, there was really no opportunity in the film to stop and take a breath.
They just had to cram a lot.
Yeah, because they're just throwing a ton at you. Like, it was approaching Christopher Nolan levels of subplots.
Well, like I said, that's because they were starting to world build,
Yeah.
and they had to start now rather than later.
They were just throwing lots of Tony growth in all at once.
Yeah. But I think we can go with A, right?
I can
We-
go with
we-
that.
yeah, why not?
I
Low
think-
A.
I mean, A no matter what. So
An A is an A is an A.
an A is an A is an A. Okay. Following up Iron Man 2, Thor.
B.
B, yeah.
Yeah, I'd give it a B. I mean, it's not particularly great, but it also was
The movie's blue. That's like the whole damn thing was blue. Like up until they get to Earth, the piece of shit's blue.
Oh, that seems
Even
like
a
they
good
had
chunk of that is blue.
Okay, all right. I get it. The literal movie was blue.
Like,
I get it.
The movie was literally blue. Like until they got to the desert, it was blue.
B. I'm okay with B. Okay, Captain America: The First Avenger.
Oh, ooh, S.
Yeah, no,
That was just a damn good.
Yeah, that
movie.
was just a phenomenally good movie.
For me, it's a low S.
I mean, I could see maybe
And it's
a low
and
S.
it's only because just him getting up to meeting the scientist, him having to show how weak he is because he's got all these problems. It's just a pacing issue for me. I feel like they just
they do hit you pretty hard with the montage after he rescues everybody.
Well, and
that really threw the pacing off.
Yeah, and it's also the beating into him. It's like, you will be great. It's like, okay, I get it. We all know he's going to be Captain America. Like, it's in the goddamn name of the movie. Can you build on the world, maybe what's going on a little more? Especially because then all the flashbacks that happened later in the movie, like with him and Bucky's relationship, was like, you couldn't have built that a little more before Bucky ran off and you became Super Soldier.
They had a lot to try to cram in because they were trying in the Cap transition, the Bucky relationship. They basically had to gloss over the Howling Commandos.
Yeah, for the most part they did. I don't know. There's still one I'd still put it up in the S tier, but there's still one massive plot hole that I just cannot get over. Like, has nobody ever heard of a fucking parachute? Right. Why the hell could he have not just parachuted out of that plane?
Right?
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that one. Anyway, so S, right?
Yeah.
S, cool. And then I think this. Yep. Okay. And now we are at Marvel's The Avengers. So
S. Like, I just watched. That was one of the movies I literally just watched. Thursday or Friday.
I'm all for S.
Yeah, I'd put it into S. I'd be a bit weary of labeling too many films in the S tier, but I'd be willing to give it that one.
Well, the problem is, I think some of these movies just hit perfect. And as we get through these lists, it's not nostalgia for me, because if you think about, these movies came out almost 9 years ago now. Think about that for a second. They just did it right.
Yeah.
It was just, and honestly, the big thing for me was, aside from, giving these actors damn near equal screen time, equal development not just in their own movies, but in this movie, to start really getting to know each other. And then on top of that, you have action scenes that you can actually fucking see.
Yeah, no shit.
That aren't cut to shit, and they just let you. They filmed the action, which I feel like an idiot for saying, but
not cutaway action.
Don't do that shit.
Not cutaway action scenes. Yeah,
I
have to agree.
And
with
they
you
don't.
on that one.
And even for Marvel movies, they don't stick to that. Like we'll talk about that later, because I remember watching. I remember watching one scene with Black Widow where there's like one move had 9 cuts in it for taking down one guy.
Jeez. Wow. Yeah. But I'm okay with S. Like, this one is, like, for me, a hardcore S one. Like, and don't worry, the next 3 films I can already tell you aren't going to probably be very high. At least I don't think they will be. Iron Man 3.
C,
if even.
CD, somewhere in there.
I mean, you still got to have fun with, like, I'm calling it, I'm only saving it from D because of the Stark growth.
I don't know. I'd give it a C only because it has, in my opinion, a criminally underrated actor in it, in Guy Pearce.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's fair. It really sucks that they had to change the director.
Right.
Because the guy who directed, was it Jon Favreau, however you say his name?
I don't think Favreau directed that one.
No, he didn't. he did 1 and 2, and then some.
And it shows.
Yeah. Also, they faked the fucking Mandarin.
Yeah, that took me a long time to get over.
I'm still not over it. I'm still pissed about it.
I can't. I like to be mad, but I can't. I've watched it a couple of times now, and the more I watch it, the more fun I have with Ben Kingsley's performance.
Oh, it's hilarious.
Like, it's hard for me to stay mad at the Mandarin thing when Ben Kingsley's just playing an absolute dillhole, and I can't help but be entertained by it. I wanted to be mad. I tried real hard. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, I see. I agree with you there, 100%, 1,000,000% on that. So, but so where are we thinking?
I'll throw it C. Yeah,
it's a low C, but I'll still consent.
Same.
It's still just a low C. Thor, The Dark World.
D.
Okay,
enough
cool.
said.
Enough said. The worst part is about this movie, I've only seen it once, and it took me 4 watchings to do it.
Yeah, well, I think that should be enough said. Really, like it's a
the
D
only,
movie.
It's really the only movie I got bored with in the first. It's the only Marvel movie I got bored with in the first act.
Right.
Would I call it an outright cinematic failure? No. But it's like one step above it.
The wheels fell off that bus in a remarkable fucking hurry.
Yes.
Fact. Okay. Since we don't have to talk about that one for much longer. Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
Now that was phenomenal. Yes.
That's even better than the first Captain
Yeah.
America.
Yeah.
That
actually
is phenomenal.
Is probably one of my top 3 favorite Marvel movies. Like, it's right up there with Iron Man.
Yeah, we'll talk about that when we get to the end, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I'm okay with Captain America: Winter Soldier.
It's just damn good.
And we're gonna get to my favorite movie.
And again, like, the main thing about it is just the movie is mostly action porn, like even more so than the others. Because you're focusing on the relatively low-powered heroes just doing an action film, and they fucking did it right. They just filmed the action and it looked great.
Yeah.
Like especially the Cap Bucky kind of knife fight there.
Yeah, 100%.
That was amazing looking.
Right.
And it didn't take 8 million cut shots to do it.
No, they just filmed the shit. It's amazing what happens.
It's amazing. As I've seen on like YouTube, seeing people like stunt coordinators talk about stuff. It's amazing what happens when you choreograph stuff,
right?
And you get professionals who know what they're doing to do it.
As it turns out, you don't need to fucking set your camera on a gyroscope and spin the bitch to shoot a scene.
I will say this though. I'll say this for action scenes. My favorite scene is when Cap's in the freaking elevator.
That was great.
And he has to attack all the guys. That was great.
That line, like, before we start, does
anybody want to get out?
Yeah, it's like,
and you even see some of the guys just go.
Well, they know. Like, no,
they know at least half of them. Like, even under the best circumstances, half of them are getting their shit absolutely tossed.
Well, yeah.
Like,
because what? Like, in the very beginning of that movie, they attack a cargo ship, and Cap just
he wrecks like the ship basically solo.
Yeah, he's just like shield, punch. Oh, look, half the crew, and now time to wreck.
Like, can we talk about the guy he basically like fucking
murdered?
Like, shield popped like straight in the freaking chest off the ship in the beginning. Like, I mean, like, I love these movies do a lot, especially as far as like Cap, like the low powered characters are concerned. They do a lot of glossing over how many people they straight up freaking murder.
Oh yeah, and
dude is dead.
Yeah, you don't get vibranium to the chest and not be dead. Like,
and I think some of the better examples come from probably a different film farther down the line. I'd probably say Civil War does an even better job of that.
Oh, you mean the dude he like basically fucking like
kicks a truck into?
Yeah, dead. Dude is dead.
Kick. You're not wrong.
I mean,
or all these people, or like especially the people like in Winter Soldier where they're just injecting them out of that freaking aircraft carrier.
Yeah,
dudes are dead.
Oh, you're right.
The guy in Civil War where he basically just does a discus throw with his shield straight to a guy's dome. Yeah, You don't
And then
have
he
a
falls
head
off
after
the
that.
carrier.
Yeah, and then he falls off the carrier. So if he didn't die from the shield, he definitely fell from
Dude is dead.
gravity.
Yeah.
Like, I hate to say this to you, but if someone actually ever sat down and did like the kill count for the Avengers, they're not all. It's like they've actually
Also, Falcon's not using rubber bullets, guys. Like those are TMPs.
Yeah. Well, they're no angels.
Falcon is murdering fools.
right. Okay. So we're gonna transition into technically, or not technically, it is my one of my favorite movies, Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, A.
Yeah.
That's a solid A.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
If I'd be willing to give it A on the basis of Batista in the soundtrack, like if nothing else.
Yeah, I have to say this right now because I know we've talked about this in a group, and I want to get it on recording. That whoever Disney and Marvel hired to do their soundtracks needs a raise for the rest of his life, because
Now hold on. I'm gonna go ahead and amend that and say that more specifically for the Guardians of the Galaxy movies.
Yes.
either way, sorry, but holy shit, that dude is on par every damn time.
Hey.
Also, can we? I just want to get this out of the way now because I know we're going to talk about it at some point. Marvel's ability to cast people.
Yeah, who'd have thought Bautista would be arguably the wrestler would be arguably the best thing about those movies?
Because, like
you look at it and you're thinking, oh, clearly it's going to be Chris Pratt because he plays an amazing Andy Dwyer.
And he did a damn good job.
Yeah. But no, Batista, he generally just kind of steals the show.
Which is ridiculous.
because everyone hated him when the movie. I still remember that when that movie came out. Everyone's like, he did so bad. I'm like, as compared to what? If you read the comics, he's kind of just
one-dimensional.
I mean, he's in the comic books. He is more intelligent in the comic books, but he's
Depends. Are we talking before or after he died and got brought back?
That's true.
Because Drax 2.0 was just a Thanos killing melon head.
Yeah, true. But I mean, he's a little smarter, but we're talking about adaptations, which are still good. But it's like
He was just fun.
He was just
It was
hilarious.
impossible not to have fun with him.
Especially the scene where they're in nowhere, he gets drunk and calls what's his name to come fight me. It's like, why did you leave him alone?
My only real critique, looking back at it, oh my god, Rodin's portrayal that was so hammy. I mean,
Yeah,
I feel
it
like
was
that
kinda
was
cringeworthy,
I feel like it
honestly.
was on purpose,
Yeah.
but I don't know who to blame for that.
Also, can we acknowledge how awesome it was seeing Thanos for the first time?
Oh right.
When you see the
Oh,
floating,
for more than just one screenshot.
Oh, when you get to see a full body shot
Yeah.
of
When-
Thanos on his throne.
yeah, on his throne, like because when I watched the movie, I'm like, they're not gonna show him. He's just gonna talk, and then he turned and you hear Josh Brolin's voice. I think that's his name. It's
Yeah.
like talking, and you're like I geeked out in the theater because I was like, yes, we get to see the guy we know who's doing all this now. Made me happy.
And like also like the amount of chemistry when you're because they were developing like 5 to 6 separate characters, main characters, and then you're throwing in Yondu and the Ravagers. Like the amount of actual development and chemistry they wrung out between all these characters in one movie. Take notes, DC. Jesus.
Right. Marvel's
You're not wrong.
Marvel's only been doing this since
Like I granted you're
2008,
trying
like-
to catch
Yeah.
lightning in a bottle with that, but it
Suck
can be
less.
done. It's been done before. Figure it out.
Hey, I have one simple thing to say to DC: suck less. Anyway, so Avengers: Age of Ultron.
I give it a B.
I give it a B. It was fun.
It had its moments.
But the issue on my biggest issue was the twins. Like it,
They
Yeah.
just kind of felt ham-fisted in
Yeah,
the
they,
movie.
they were not.
were-
They're.
They were just there.
It was a definite disc. It definitely pulled me out of the story trying to get them into it.
I agree.
Now the hidden gem in there is Andy frickin' Serkis's claw.
Right. For at the time, that little cameo he had was just amazing.
I will say Paul Bettany as Vision also helped.
Yeah, I don't know
be
whose
it.
decision that was, but that was great.
Yes.
My biggest love for this especially because I liked The Blacklist and I liked the later seasons of The Office. It's James Spader playing Ultron.
That was great. Especially when he's talking to Claw. And he loses his mind when he compares him to Stark.
Yeah. Don't compare me. I am not one of Stark's Iron Men. It just like, he just like cuts his arm off. And he's just like, I'm so sorry. It's like, you're just like, oh my God, he is losing his absolute shit.
So we're taking B?
Yeah, I'm cool with B. Yeah, James Spader, yeah. Yeah, that was just him losing his mind is just one of my favorite, like
honestly, the character development was kind of because it didn't develop its new characters very well, with the exception of Ultron, and that bugged me.
So what does that get us to now? Does that get us to Civil War?
we have Ant-Man.
Ant-Man. Oh man.
I'm not gonna lie, I straight up slept on this when it was first announced.
So did I.
Because I'm not gonna lie, I kind of lost my mind
when you heard the casting choice.
Not the casting choice. When I realized we were skipping to Scott instead of starting with Pym.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'm like, because like the Pym Stark rivalry, especially when the transition with like first gen Avengers to what we now think of as the Avengers, and I'm like, you can't. And this is before I knew they were casting Pym at all in the story. I thought we were just going to skip to Scott Lang. I'm like, I got irrationally upset.
He did. He did because me and him had several conversations about this, actually.
Like, I wasn't even going to see it. Like, I was so mad.
Well, I never saw it in theaters. This is one Marvel movie I actually skipped in theaters.
I didn't see it in theaters. I don't regret it either.
But I should have had more faith in Paul.
Yeah.
And honestly, even though he wasn't the main character, Douglas killed it as Pym.
Fact.
Killed
100%.
Like, speaking of perfect casting, I feel like people slept on his performance. Like, don't get me wrong. Paul's the star. He stole the show in every frame he was in. Yeah. That said, Douglas straight played Pym as a baller.
I agree. 100% agree.
I'd put that in solid A territory. It didn't catch lightning like some of the others, but it still did a damn good job.
Okay, yeah, I'll go with A.
My only critique is, fuck, that was a dumb yellow jacket.
See, that's what kills me from
the
making
villain
it.
Was so hammy. That's what stops it from S territory for me. Is like I can't remember the villain's name. I was so distracted by him.
For me, it's a really, really low A.
Same
for Ant-Man. Okay.
Yeah, Ant-Man I'd probably say is the threshold of an A.
Right.
Yeah. So now it's Captain America Civil War.
See that part, there are parts I am so torn on this one. Because for everything they did great, they did something else that just annoyed the crap out of me.
What really annoyed me about Captain America Civil War is a lot of stuff they talk about, and this was just how they were building their worlds. You had to watch TV shows to see exactly what everything, because the Accords. It's like
they relied too much on you watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, to know exactly what the Accords had in them,
which is dumb because, and also in this one, the polished hardcore came off the fight scenes, like especially in the very beginning, that opening scene that set everything up.
Yeah.
I could write a thesis on my issues with that scene. Just watching Black Widow fight.
Yeah.
Like, just keeping track of, like, I don't know how many times I had to watch that scene just to realize that I was watching 9 cuts of her take down the same guy.
But can we also admit that we probably had one of the coolest fight scenes when they're all running on the tarmac towards each other?
I mean, that was cool. Again, it was cut to hell.
He had a lot going on, though.
Which is true. I just feel like they could have done it better.
Also, them bringing Spider-Man back.
Yeah, that was fun.
Oh, yeah.
My issues with that was, like, I felt like Zola's motivation and plan was weak.
I can't disagree with you there.
Like, also, it took me forever to realize that this was supposed to be like
You
the
mean
Baron
Zemo?
Yeah, like it took me forever to like just establishing his motivation and his plan was ridiculous.
So, in my opinion,
Like I was consistently having to go back and find more breadcrumbs.
Like I think a redeeming factor was finding out that Aunt May was being played by Marissa Tomei.
That was cool.
Yeah, that was cool.
And honestly, my favorite fight scene of that was Bucky and Cap fighting Stark at the end.
oh yeah, I'm not.
That was shot well.
I'm not gonna disagree with you that was not like.
It looked awesome. If they had shot the rest of the fight. Also, the thing that pisses me off about the fight at the airport, where the hell was Vision?
Yeah, I agree with you there.
Oh yeah, he was an absentee fighter. I mean, granted, I think a lot of his time was being occupied with Scarlet Witch, but
they don't show you any of that.
No, they don't show any of that.
He just
or
disappears.
Very little of it anyway.
He disappears until that building falls.
Yeah, basically.
Pretty much.
And I think part of it is he's just so powerful they didn't know how to use him, which is just annoying.
I think it comes. You have one of those problems that does happen eventually.
And they kind of had that problem in Age of Ultron too, is they didn't really know how to use him because even if you look at it, the fights don't really focus on him either.
Well, Vision didn't become a massive thing till near the end of the movie anyway.
And even and this is skipping ahead a little now, just because I've seen WandaVision, they still don't know how to use Vision in a fight.
No, they don't.
No, not particularly.
But for me, as much as I like the movie and I like everything that happened, it's a B.
It's just I keep getting frustrated.
If not,
yeah, I give.
If not, it's even sad. You could almost talk C territory because of how
I wouldn't do it that
high C.
much, but
High C. I could.
The good moments were too good for me to put it as a C, but I can see it being a B.
Yeah, I'd put it in a B category.
For me, it's a really low B. Because the parts that just get like the bad parts to me almost sometimes outweigh the really good stuff that does happen. Because this is supposed to be the final movie for Captain America.
It was Avengers 1.5 or 2.5.
Yeah,
yeah,
it really was.
It was, and
it didn't do those films justice.
No. Okay. Bob's having a technical difficulty, so ignore him for a second.
No, I'm good.
Okay, so we just talked about... Okay. Doctor Strange.
A.
Yeah, I give it an A.
The more I watch that movie, the more I like it.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
100%.
Yeah, that Dormammu, I have come to bargain.
Also,
like that one of the most creative movie endings ever.
Can we also talk about like one of the scenes that I know made me cringe like no other one was watching the Ferrari's dash wrap around his hands.
Just Pac-Man his hands.
Lamborghini, whatever the hell he was driving, and it Pac-Man his hands. I'm sorry, I cringed so damn hard because my hands hurt watching that happen.
Yeah, just basically, I mean, he won the battle by singing the song that never ends. That's basically what he did.
This is the song that never ends. This goes on and on. Dormammu.
and that's honestly what I loved most about that interpretation of Strange is like getting him so young because Strange is one of the most absurdly powerful characters in Marvel Comics.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But in this movie, he didn't overpower anyone.
No,
he was just more creative than everyone he fought.
Well, they also
sprinkled that in with no small amount of luck.
Well, you also add in the fact that they didn't make him. He was learning his powers still, and which is a big thing. Yeah, he's super intelligent, he's super powerful, but he still has no idea how to use all these powers correctly yet. It took him a while.
He's very much flying by the seat of his pants.
Yeah.
Like, especially like the fight when he first fights Caecilius in the New York Sanctum.
Right.
Because he's just, holy crap, is he just ad-libbing that?
Yeah. And it showed.
Oh, yeah.
But it's just like, he's like almost so inept. Like, it was a combination of him being creative, lucky, and just them not taking him seriously, because who the hell is this idiot? Like, even Caecilius is just like...
Also, hey, Dubs, technically your favorite character dies.
I I really liked Wong.
He did. He's like, he's my favorite character, and then technically he died. But he got he got impaled in South Korea.
Like my favorite Wong moment is like, I know, laws of nature. Don't stop now. Like it's just him like basically punking Strange through the rest of the movie. Shut up.
Right.
Like
but it was just hilarious that because I had to point that out to him just for context. Dubs has this thing in a TV show or movie that eventually his favorite character dies.
Every time.
And he got all happy. He's like, finally, my favorite character didn't die. I'm like, technically he did, and he got brought back to life. He's like, you shut the hell up right now. Like, I had to point it out as soon as we got done watching Doctor Strange, because Dubs is like, I'm so happy. I'm like, why? He's like, Wong didn't die. I'm like, well, technically he
also,
did.
as far as like first movies for a character in Marvel, they did a really good job setting up Mordo. Is it Mordo?
Yeah, it's Mordo.
Like they did a really good job setting him up.
I'll give you that. They did.
Because like they had to show his growth.
Nothing.
What'd you say?
Don't worry about it. I said sensors. It's played by the same actor.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know.
They did just as good a job setting him up as they did Strange.
Yeah.
Which is gonna. I hope they don't flub it in the sequel. I'm not saying that they will because I have no reason to believe that, but
Time will tell on that one.
yeah, they really set it up to knock Strange 2 out of the park.
And then Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
I give that a B. It wasn't as good as the first one.
Yeah, it didn't quite capture it as well.
It's literally, in my opinion, it comes down to the villain.
Yeah.
Ego was just not as good. Don't get me wrong, it was awesome seeing Kurt Russell in that movie. And God damn it, what's his name? The blue guy.
Michael Rooker.
Yeah.
Yeah. Him getting his send-off.
Yeah, I'm not gonna like. It took me a while to warm up to Yondu because the film portrayal's almost unrecognizable from.
Oh
the
yeah,
comics.
100%.
Like it took me a minute to realize that. Well, I'm like, oh, that's the same.
Same guy.
I get it because without doing it the way they did, Yondu on paper is just an alien clone of Hawkeye.
100%. 100%.
Like
magic whistling arrow.
That took me a long time to wrap my head around. But he just did too good of a job portraying the character. It was fun.
I will also admit right now that the send off they did for him made me shed a tear.
Yeah,
because they had to play that fucking song. You sons of bitches. You dirty sons of bitches. You don't get to start playing Cat Stevens at the end of a Marvel movie when someone dies. That's not how this works.
Well, guess what? They did. You're going to have to get over it.
No. Yeah.
The thing is just like, it was just that movie was awfully rough around the edges.
It's just the villain. To me, it was just 100% the villain because if you take out if you take out the mask story, which is stupid because he was the big thing, the party all interacted really well with each other. Mm-hmm. Even stuff with the Raider, like with the was it the Raiders?
Ravagers?
Yeah,
the
Ravagers.
Sorry. Wow. Long day, ladies and gentlemen. They did really well. It's just when it came to stuff with Ego, it just like slowed the movie down. And I guess they had to explain Quill's powers, why he could hold the Infinity Stone and not die. I guess they had to talk about that.
Well, yeah, they had to retcon it.
Well, yeah. It was things they neither told nor showed really. Yeah, and you didn't have a lot of time to digest it or figure out what that meant because the movie was figuring out what that meant.
Exactly. So
yeah, I'm not entirely unconvinced that movie was not just a giant retcon.
They also like the amount of times they wrote themselves into corners. Like in the final fight, they wrote Drax into a corner because he had no place in that fight, so they literally ejected him from it.
Right, 100%. Okay, and we settle on a B, right? I think that's where we're okay.
Fair.
Yep.
Yeah, that's fair.
Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Boy,
I'm torn.
Yeah.
The supporting cast did nothing for me.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there.
Are you sure? Like, are we considering Michael Keaton part of supporting cast?
No, he's the antagonist.
He's the antagonist. He's definitely main cast.
Michael Keaton was the diamond in the rough for that movie. I had no idea what to expect. First off, it's just going back to the Spider-Man villains and them just picking the weirdest fucking people.
I don't know. I did like the character chemistry and interactions of Peter Parker and Aunt May. I thought that it was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was
it was
perfectly fine.
Because it was a different dynamic than what we're used to seeing in Spider-Man movies. She was more of like an older sister than she was.
It was a fresher interpretation,
Yeah.
it was nice not to go through that tired fucking Aunt May, Uncle Ben fucking.
Yes,
I mean that's right up there with going through Bruce Wayne's parents dying in every single fucking version of that story. We get it.
Right. They're dead. They're dead.
Do not show. I swear to God, if that Robert Pattinson.
If they show me Bruce Wayne's parents dying in that movie again, I'm walking out of the theater.
So you've decided that you are going to the theater
I'll
to
give it a
watch
shot.
that.
It's been a long time since I've actually seen a Batman movie in the theaters.
Okay, all right. But anyway, we're not talking Batman. We're talking Marvel.
Infinitely better.
Like
Subject
I did not
to
know
interpretation.
It's just
You're a
it's
bitch.
just okay. Spider-Man movies picking stranger and stranger villains to use because. Like, I mean, part of it is, like, you've already done Green Goblin twice, and it keeps getting worse.
Also, unless they were willing to bring back Willem Dafoe, I don't think they could do it any better.
I'm just, like, just picking stranger... Well, it was just like, and then, like, okay, they did the... We're going to reach into our hat of Spider-Man villains, we're going to pull out the Lizard. I'm like...
Right. 100%.
Okay.
Like, what the fuck?
And then this one, we're going to reach into our hat of Spider-Man villains, we're going to pull out... I'm like Kingpin. We're gonna see Kingpin. Maybe new Doc Ock. Kingpin.
We weren't gonna see
Vulture
Kingpin.
and Shocker.
Right.
Well,
I'm just like
we weren't gonna see Kingpin because Kingpin was already being in Daredevil miniseries on Netflix.
it could have
He's
been.
right, you
It
know.
could have been congruent.
No, because Netflix was separate from Disney at this point. Netflix wrote their own stuff with Disney's approval. From my understanding.
Well, yeah, but it's still the properties are still all owned and.
They're all owned, but it's because of how Netflix probably had their deal set up. It was
Disney still could have done it.
Yeah, but they weren't going to.
But I'm just like, so we're gonna reach into our magic hat of Spider-Man villains. We're gonna pull out the Vulture. I'm like,
Mostly, you want to know why? Because then they would have to share Kingpin with Sony.
I mean, like, or just anybody.
I'm just saying they could have had to share Kingpin with Sony.
Well, I mean,
And
they were already sharing the villains anyway. And
just-
Kingpin is not exclusively a Spider-Man villain anyway.
I'm just saying, if it would have been Kingpin.
And just like, or anybody. It's just like we're reaching into our hat of Spider-Man villains. We're gonna pull out the Vulture. I'm like, and I'm thinking of the original designs. I'm like, okay, how are they gonna make this character not look absolutely fucking ridiculous?
To their credit, they've
got a good track record. They made Cap and Thor not look retarded.
Yeah.
That was a tall order.
right? Holy shit. So where are we thinking, though, movie-wise? We haven't really talked. I think it's kind of like...
Nothing particularly memorable about it.
Yeah, that was my issue. Like it was
I'd
aside
put it
from
in a
Tom
B.
doing a good job, I'd say solid B. Like
Yeah.
the acting was great, but the story was nothing special.
Yeah.
Cinematically, it was nothing special.
I have to
I'd put it
agree.
as a B.
I
Yeah.
mean, the only reason it seems so awesome is because we're automatically comparing it to the other Spider-Man films, and it's no contest.
Also, also a large helping of Robert Downey Jr., too.
Right.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, B.
B.
Yeah, it's all
Solid B.
Anyway. Thor Ragnarok.
A. Solid A. Maybe even a high A.
Yeah, I kind of have to agree with Bob
I
on
might
that
push
one.
that into S, actually.
I don't know if it's quite S, mostly because...
Hey, I'm gonna mention something that's going to change your mind.
If you mention, look,
Jeff Goldblum. Jeff Goldblum.
I was thinking of Jeff Goldblum when I said S. Like in spite of
well, you see,
yes, in spite of the Wizard of
what you say is that you are wrong.
but it's just honestly for me, it's like it was good. It was one of the first times we've seen Thor truly vulnerable. Which was interesting for me.
What bothers me about the movie is like when it's just scenes with Hela, it's when it's not Thor and her interacting, it's just her, like when she's bringing her army back. It just seems boring to me.
Yeah, I mean, I'll grant you the second act is kind of dull because there's a lot of time, well, where you're splitting the story between two locations, and you're watching people get their feet under them. For me, it's the interaction, but it's like watching Thor truly grow as a character, which we hadn't seen yet.
No, we hadn't. Yeah.
And we're finally getting some actual progress between him and Loki.
Yep.
Which hadn't happened yet because they've been going around in circles with the same thing the entire time.
Yep.
Even through the Avengers film, it was the same shit.
Oh yeah.
We got some actual character growth out of Thor. We got a very nice looking world. And again, and as part of this is just, these are action movies when you get right down to it. The action scenes were perfectly shot.
Right.
Like the fight between Thor and Hulk.
That was action porn.
Yeah, that was
100%.
That's what it was.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Like and honestly, and of course in the beginning the fight with Surtur. That was great.
Oh yeah, that was great.
I loved that scene. I just for me, what sold me on the movie was just the opening, because I was like, they're gonna.
Do you mean just Thor being a dickhead?
Well, it's not just that. It's that. But it's just, it's like I had such a low expectation for Thor Ragnarok,
especially after Dark World. Yeah,
and I didn't care because it was like the trailers made it. So I'm like, yeah, but I've been fooled by trailers before.
Because Dark World looked awesome,
right? And it sucked. But the moment they started the movie and Thor's in there talking shit,
while captured.
I'm like, okay. Also, great use of Led Zeppelin.
Oh
right?
yeah, absolutely phenomenal.
Like, I don't know whose decision that was, but good on you.
Also, I don't know how much they paid for that, but good on them.
All the best Disney money. Some primo Disney money.
Ho ho! Break out another 100. Ho ho!
But and then the end fight scene, like.
Oh, you mean
I can't defeat you, but he can.
right?
Thor fighting Hela, like friggin' Pickett. Like,
also, I know some people do not like her design. I really like how they designed her.
I think she looked cool.
Yeah, it looked
she was like kind of a pleasant mishmash of Thor villains.
Of Hela, just a really pleasant mismatch of how Hela has looked throughout the years and all of her weird random powers.
Well, because like Hela's like her main power, like the weapon generating thing, that wasn't Hela. I can't remember the Thor villain's name that actually did that. Because it wasn't Hela. It was.
I thought it was. Either way, it's nice.
It was a nice mishmash of powers for a nice reinvention of her. My only real critique, and part of it is just Odin is one of my favorite Marvel characters. Him getting once again unfairly sidelined.
I think a lot of that comes from the guy who played him.
Part of it is I get it. Like, the movie is Thor. We're gonna focus on Thor. I get that, but if
also,
you're gonna go through the trouble of hiring freaking Anthony Hopkins to play the guy, you'd think, I don't know, you'd let him play the guy.
Well, here's the thing too. They had to work really hard to convince Anthony Hopkins to come film that movie.
That's fair.
Because after 2, he didn't want anything to do with the franchise. In fact, he told Disney basically to go away. But the guy who directed this movie, basically, if I remember right, he went and begged Anthony. He's like, listen, this is the script. I'm doing it now. This is my plan. And we should be ready to go. And Anthony's like, okay. And Hopkins is like, okay, I'm going to finish the character because I have to. Like, I can't let it just go away.
Like, it was just, I mean, I understand, like, the behind-the-scenes issues. It's just, like, for me, it's like, in all 3 movies, you're taking...
because, like,
you're taking a character who, for the longest time, was the benchmark for god-tier character power levels. And he was completely fucking sidelined.
Oh, you mean how in Thor 1, Odin's sleep basically happened the whole movie?
Thor 2, he was pretty much non-existent.
Yeah. It sucks.
And in Thor fucking Ragnarok, they fucking killed him.
Right.
God damn it.
I mean, I see why they did.
I mean, from a storytelling standpoint, I get it. It's just fuck?
Also, I have to admit how funny it was with Doctor Strange showing up and being a giant troll.
That was great. That was probably my favorite sequence of the movie.
I've been falling for 30 minutes.
Just watching Strange just fucking straight up dick kick Loki. Like, as soon as he meets him. You second rate. And goodbye.
You second-rate sorcerer, and goodbye.
Strange. Well, obviously, you're not going to be civil, so.
Like, that was hilarious. But yeah, A.
I'd give it an A. Yeah.
I'm 100% cool with an A. Black Panther.
Killmonger was boring.
Yeah, sorry. I have to agree. He was boring.
I'm not disagreeing.
He was too one-dimensional.
What's really sad to me is Claw was the better villain than Killmonger.
Right, and they killed him.
I must have my precious.
Also, I do love how much fun Andy had with that character.
Oh my god!
I don't.
The singing scene where he's in the jail and he's just sitting there singing. It almost makes you wonder: was that scripted or did he just decided to start doing it to freak people out?
Like, oh, Andy's off his meds again.
Andy, I know you're working with a guy that worked with you on The Hobbit. Don't start being him right now, please.
Like, we're gonna need to take 25 to 30% off there, Andy. Stop singing.
Stop. Because if you notice, everyone looks kind of uncomfortable while he's in there, like, tied to the chair singing. And they're like, what do we do?
I have to say, though, like, the movie looked so cool. It's just, Killmonger, to me, was an underwhelming villain.
And the worst part is he had such an awesome setup.
Right.
Like the first scene you see him where he's in the British theater, or in the British museum,
Right.
And he kills that lady and takes the stuff and prove a point. And I'm like, man, that's awesome. And then he just, he shows up. Oh, I'm going to challenge you to take.
He just came across like every like gangbanger punk in every movie ever.
Pretty much, that's how I feel.
With scarification.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Now, for me, like, what does it is, like, the way the movie was shot, like, the cinematography was great.
Right.
Like, Wakanda looked amazing.
I agree. 100%.
Like, the supporting cast was great. Like, his love interest that they didn't beat you over the head with. Like, it was... Like, it was a very not color by numbers storyline. His sister was cool. I cannot believe, like, their track record with making characters look not retarded. Like, had Manape look like a monster without making him look like a complete idiot. Because Manape looked retarded.
Oh, yeah. In the comic books, he looks straight retarded. Here, he looks really good.
Yeah. And they made him an awesome character.
You're right. The main villain was just...
And that end battle scene was awesome. Like, not the Killmonger fight. That was kind of annoying, but the CGI was not as polished.
Yeah, that CGI
that
was
really annoyed
actually
me.
kind of quite awful, considering the technology that was available.
And for
Hell, even like compared to like Iron Man,
and for a Marvel movie at that, like, that's ridiculous.
Like when Iron Man, who is an entirely fucking CGI'd character,
but in reality, though, I think
it came out how much earlier?
I think like almost 10 years. But here's the difference. When they were in that final fight, basically almost all that was CGI. So you have a CGI on top of CGI on top of CGI on a CGI background.
It's just frustrating because, like, even when everything is fake, the amount of shit that looked extra faked was really distracting.
Well, my problem is you used a lot of bright colors, and when stuff's really bright like that, to me it seems like it can be fake a lot easier. You can fake stuff a lot easier.
Everything looked rubbery.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, it wasn't as bad as this, but it kind of reminded me of the rubbery nonsense from Matrix Reloaded. Like, it wasn't that bad, but it reminded me of that, and that's not a good thing.
No.
I can see what you're talking about.
But the battle scene outside,
that was awesome.
That was awesome.
Yeah, that fucking battle
like,
scene.
I didn't know I wanted war rhinos until I got war rhinos.
You're not wrong.
But I'd give it a B.
Yeah, I'm okay with a B.
Low B, yeah.
Yeah, low B.
It just really sucks because, like, everything was good, but Killmonger. Like, to me, Killmonger's the biggest downside to that movie, which sucks because
which is dumb because the rest of the supporting cast nailed it. But
it also sucks he randomly disappears for large portions of the movie.
right,
I'm like,
it's like the movie forgets that he exists or how to
well,
use him.
it seems like they have to set up, okay, especially once he's working his way to Wakanda.
Yeah, he just kind of shows up there out of nowhere.
Yeah, he's like, we have a challenger here. Okay. And it's just
Like it's like he had to. It's like we sidelined you traveling until the plot needs you again.
pretty much. So, okay. Avengers Infinity War.
I would give it an A.
Oh yeah,
There were a lot of cool moments in it.
there was a lot. It did a lot.
See, this to me is almost S tier.
I can't put it in S.
I can't put it in S because I know what I will be putting in S.
For me, like I can't put.
Get upset.
I
What?
can't.
If you say Endgame, I'm gonna be upset.
Yes. Endgame. It's an S tier movie.
Yeah.
Fight me.
Okay, I'm gonna be fighting you apparently.
Like, cause my issue with it is, with the exception of Thanos, we had no idea who the villains were, or what they could do. Like, from an in-movie standpoint.
Like, I will give it this. Like, I was thoroughly impressed with the complete subversion of expectations. Like, the bad guy won.
Right?
Hashtag Thanos did nothing wrong.
No.
Like,
Genocide is wrong.
I think everybody went into that theater fully expecting Thanos to come out victorious, but we were still surprised when he ended up coming out of that victorious.
It's because we saw the snap.
We got the total victory, which we didn't think we were gonna get.
Yeah. That's it. We thought, okay, it's gonna be a minor victory. No,
No,
it was
Like, the Avengers are gonna get their ass kicked. They're gonna regroup. They're gonna take it down. Like, no,
he got 100% of what he wanted.
he retired.
yeah.
Like Thanos dropped the mic and disappeared. They had to start a new movie to find him.
So, by that I would say,
Yeah, I'd give it a solid A.
yeah, it's a very high A in my opinion.
And again, it was just the movie was just done well.
Yeah.
Still don't know how to use Vision. God, that was annoying. We don't know how to use Vision, so we're gonna.
So what are we gonna do? We're gonna put him under the fucking knife.
We're gonna mortally wound him in the opening scene.
Why
are you done my boy Vision so dirty? Why can't you figure out what to do with this guy?
It's kind of like
Hashtag justice for Paul Bettany.
right.
It's kind of like how, in my opinion, they're
You won't
not
let
using...
him read the script. You won't let him play his character.
Oh, they let him read the script, just the wrong one. One moment, guys. We're having a little bit of a technical difficulty. Oh well, it'll be a long episode.
Yeah.
So, I still think it's an S movie. That's just me personally. And I think
If the villains were developed better, I could do it.
my problem is they're minor villains to a certain extent. Everyone cares about Thanos. I don't think that's
But
right.
they were the
considering-
villains for like most of the movie.
I know. I
We
understand
didn't get
that.
Thanos until the end.
I'm just saying.
You get these people whose names we don't ever hear, to my knowledge, who's immediately sideline Vision.
Yeah, honestly, I don't think you ever. I don't recall ever.
I know
hearing
who
their
the
names.
owner. Like, I don't even remember hearing the Maw's name.
Yeah,
I
I
just
don't-
know that's Ebony Maw.
Yeah, you
because
just know he's Ebony Maw.
I
and
could have swore we heard No, I'm pretty sure we heard Maw because I think Thanos said it to him.
I think it refers
Maybe.
to him as the Maw or something.
Yeah, but the other ones you never
It's
heard.
entirely possible. Like, you have no clue who Proxima Midnight is.
yeah, no clue who Glaive is.
No.
I don't even know who the big guy was.
Yeah, to this day I have no clue who the big.
I have
dude
his name.
was.
I have his name, but off the top of
But
my
it's
head, I
just
can't
like-
remember because I'm just.
I'm
tired
just
of
like,
them,
because we dealt with them for 2 movies and I have no freaking idea. And just it took you an entire movie just to figure out how they stack up against them. Because you have, Glaive, who is actually super powerful, but they don't really touch on that. Because when you first meet him, he sidelines Vision in seconds, who they from the beginning stacked up to be right up there with Thor in power level. And then this same dude gets absolutely punked by Widow. Explain.
But yeah, I would put Infinity War as a solid high A.
Like, the one redeeming quality of all of them was the Maw was such a douchebag. I loved him.
Right.
he was the only one that got any real screen time or any real lines. And he was so funny. Really sad he got meat sickled.
Right. 100%. Oh, well. Next movie, Ant-Man and the Wasp.
C.
It was C. I mean, it set up a lot of the framework for
And I
Endgame,
think that's
but
what it was supposed to do. It seemed like almost. It was like the filler movie. It was interesting.
That it had too much going on for me to get truly invested in.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. It's a C movie for me.
Yeah,
I don't think.
frankly, if it didn't provide a lot of the bridging for Endgame, it wouldn't even be that.
Right.
Yeah. Captain Marvel.
D. I don't remember who the hell most of this character. I remember Agent, Fury,
Jan Rog.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
I just could not get vested in the movie. I couldn't. I tried watching that movie several times. It's just,
I mean, part of the problem is, like, from a comic book standpoint, is you're tackling the Kree-Skrull conflict, which is this huge, monstrous issue to tackle, even in the comics. And you're trying to cram what that is into the Captain Marvel origin story.
yeah, you got a lot of work ahead of you for one movie.
Like, that's a lot.
That's a lot.
Which is really frustrating because the comics managed to get the Marvel origin story out without touching on the Kree at all.
Right?
Yeah, I'd say. I mean, the movie had a metric ton of potential. It just never lived
It just
up
never.
to.
It didn't go all the way with most of its ideas.
Yeah.
The action looked very good.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, just a metric ton of unfulfilled potential. I'd put it at D.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. And now we come to the end of our list. Endgame.
S.
S.
A.
Well, you're outnumbered.
It's literally what slows me down in the movie is after they kill Thanos. That we have.
There's barely any movie left after they kill Thanos.
No, I'm talking when they.
Oh,
the
you're
very beginning.
Okay, all right.
I'm not talking when they the battle. I'm not talking the final battle. I'm talking after they kill Thanos and we get to see Fat Thor, like, who I'm living. It's like, I get it, they're putting it together, but I feel like all that build up to that, I just don't know. Like, to me, it just slows me down so hard. They went from this massive action scene to, I don't know if that's just them building anticipation back up to what we're going to be doing again.
Well, it was all about showing how hopeless the situation had become.
In my opinion, and I agree. I can't remember the name of the YouTuber that said this, and so I'm sorry if I ever figure it out again, I'll give you credit. But there's a YouTuber out there. He put out this video who said that it's basically that movie, or a large part of it anyway. Like, that whole middle part is the 5 stages of grief.
That's a good point.
Yeah, it's the 5 stages of grief.
I hadn't thought about it like that, but that makes absolute sense.
I mean, I get where they're coming from, and that makes sense. I guess just to me, it slowed down really hard, and it just, I don't know what it is.
And now I'm going to put it in a low S, because in the time since, I've seen all the bits that were cut.
Yeah.
and them cutting the immediate reaction from the Avengers when Stark died is criminal.
Yeah, I'd agree with you on that one.
Like, that, just watching that, even out of context with the rest of the film, carried a ton of weight, and I don't know why they skipped it. Like, they will never be able, no one will ever be adequately justify that to me.
No.
Like I say, a low S to me.
For me, it's like...
I don't know, the montage of all of the heroes coming back through those fucking in those goddamn sorcerer gates.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Like, that was just comic porn for me.
The final battle.
Oh, when you get to see War Machine and his new rocket attachment.
Yeah, that whole final battle, it was just comic book porn, action porn. Like
you can't deny that, because I mean, two things happened. One was Robert Downey Jr. dying. Like, we'll never see that again. And two, hearing Captain America say "Avengers Assemble," finally, and wielding Mjolnir. Yeah, Mjolnir at the same time. Like,
they really also hammered on the struggle, like, because at different points you get multiple Avengers like 1v1ing or 2v2ing Thanos, and getting their shit tossed for the most part.
Also,
and they kept coming.
Also, my biggest thing I'm still not very happy about was how they handled Hulk. I just don't like the way they did Hulk.
Yeah, he got kind of sidelined in the last fight, didn't he?
Yeah, he kind of did.
Just this
he was
weird,
busy holding up a goddamn building from collapsing.
Just
on
this
a bunch
weird,
of people.
me and Hulk worked our shit out kind of thing, and I'm like, I feel like they're ham-fisting something just for the sake of doing it.
Well, no, it was just them showing, like, it was part of them showing Hulk's growth, like even the character in comic books, where, because I mean, like, in the comics that actually happened.
I know it did. It's just, for some reason it didn't fit, like, perfectly.
It did seem a little forced, and that would have been something I felt like if you're gonna do transition that does a Hulk transition that deserves its own movie, that should have been it.
Like, I understand it happened, but how they handled it in the movie was just really...
It was not seamless, I will grant you.
Like, that was my only problem with it. It was just really weird.
Also, Clinton should get extra credit for the crap he had to deal with in that battle, because that poor bastard...
Oh my fucking god. Holy shit. That dude...
Okay, I forgot the gauntlet. No, oh god.
Right.
Just gets out of there. Somebody please take this from me. Goes to Spider-Man. Oh no. Oh dear.
Oh no. Oh no.
I will say, for me, it's like, if S is 100, it's a 99% A for me. Like, S being the 100% rating.
Yeah, I get that. You're saying high A, I'm saying low S.
Yeah, I'm still going S.
Same.
Even if it's a low S, it's still an S. All right. Well, I guess we're hitting up near the end of our episode here. Dubs, you've been taking notes on where we've been placing these videos. These movies. You care to do a recap of
Sure.
where everything is?
We didn't have any failures because we're ranking Marvel films, not DC films.
Shots fired. Shots fired. I'd like to report shots
DC
fired.
Comics. Ding.
D. I mean, I don't feel like we're gonna catch a lot of disagreement on this. It's gonna be Thor: Dark World and Captain Marvel.
Oh, there will probably be someone that'll hate for that one because I watched Captain Marvel and you can say whatever you want, but that character did nothing for me. She didn't even do anything in Endgame. Like, she was plot armor. I brought Tony Stark back to Earth. Oh, I'm out defending the other parts of the world that are other parts of the universe.
I'll take another character we're not sure how to use, so we're gonna sideline her.
And then at the end, she all of a sudden shows up and destroys the ship.
Right.
And then they had the girl moment, which was cool in its own, don't get me wrong, but it was like...
That was pretty cool. But and then you get C. We've got Incredible Hulk, Iron Man 3, and Ant-Man and the Wasp. Which, again, serviceable films, but
And the worst part is between those three, Ant-Man and the Wasp just suffered from transitional illness.
mm-hmm.
They had to fit a lot in between the two movies.
Too many. They were too many plates were spinning. Too many dynamics were being explored.
Yep.
Then in B's, you got Thor, the blue movie. It's just blue. Like
Yeah, it's just blue. The pen is blue.
Avengers Age of Ultron, Captain America Civil War, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Spider-Man Homecoming, and Black Panther.
Yeah.
Good films that just didn't break that threshold.
It's just something held them back is really what it was.
And then in A, you've got Iron Man 1 and 2, because of course you do. Guardians of the Galaxy, duh. Ant-Man, a movie which I owed and gave an apology. Nothing against Paul, that was purely against the screenwriters that my beef was with. Doctor Strange, a movie I didn't have much expectations for, but it was just good.
But it killed it, yeah.
Thor Ragnarok, again, wasn't really sure what to expect.
Oh, I was expecting a train wreck because of the last movie,
Thor.
but
The only reason I didn't expect a train wreck is because they hired a new guy. And I looked into him, and he has comic book.
Like I gave it a chance because with one exception, like the director and the casting choices made me want to give it a chance.
wait a minute, you saw a movie that had Jeff Goldblum in it, and you said,
I said
yeah, we're going to give this movie a chance.
I said with one exception.
He definitely did. One exception.
I'm forgiving Ragnarok's use of the Wizard of
Shame on you.
No shame on you.
No shame on you.
And Infinity War. And then at S tier, with apparently some debate, was Endgame. And then, of course, Captain America 1 and 2. Because just good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Like, and it's just, like, especially with those two, like, my willingness to rewatch them.
So what was
not getting bored. And then, of course, Avengers.
Yeah, the first Avengers.
Because everybody just does a good job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody gets damn near equal screen time. There's nobody. They don't lose focus on the plot, the characters. They have a ridiculous actions. They have a ridiculous finale.
Yeah,
that I can't say enough good things about. Like, except for, obviously the freaking video game weak spot of the Chitauri. Kill the motherships. Like, thank you.
Yeah, no, I think that was a pretty solid recap there, Dubs.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
But,
because if we're gonna do cinematic callbacks, it's definitely gonna be to fucking Independence Day.
Well, Jeff Goldblum is in both those worlds.
Yeah, I just thought about that.
So, congratulations. You played yourself. But anyway, we have I think this episode went on a good bit longer than we had any intention of it going for. So a little bit of Goldblum.
A little bit.
But anyway, we're probably gonna wrap this up here in just a couple seconds here. So thank you for joining us, and have fun doing whatever the hell it is that you do. You fucking degenerates.